Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I'm back with another reaction to Cloak and Dagger. I am now about to do episode 8, which was called Ghost Stories. There we are. Ghost Stories. So, last episode was really cool. That's what we had, the whole looping Groundhog Day. Just there's several movies that have done the whole idea of living the same day over and over again. And yeah, I think this show did a really good job of the whole idea of, you know, this crazy endless loop that Nathan Hess was living in, and finally, with the help of Tandy and Tyrone, they were able to get him out of it. But at the same time, they kind of helped Tandy kind of break through a little bit for herself of getting over this kind of obsession that she has with her father. Well, I guess with the illusion that she's had of her father. You know, she kind of has him on this pedestal, and she's been kind of sitting in this holding pattern for years since he died, of kind of wanting to be with him and see him. And while that's completely relatable, it doesn't exactly work for progressing with your life. So Tyrone was really able to help her through that and kind of navigate her way out and to come back and deal with the present day and how they're going to deal with things going forward. So yeah, this episode, very interested to see where we're going to go now, because Nathan Hess is out of his coma. He does have a few answers that will probably be helpful to Tandy and Tyrone, assuming that he remembers anything from before the explosion. But we also still have a huge gap as far as Tyrone's story now. Like, where are we gonna go? The last living witness to Tyrone's brother's murder, not witness, but the person who could help him put this corrupt police officer you know, away, or at least get justice for him, he's now dead. And so this kind of leaves Tyrone back at square one as far as trying to prove that this man A, exists, and B, did this horrible crime all those years ago. So without further ado, let's get into this episode, because I'm very interested to see where we're heading next with this crazy adventure. So shall we, Boop? Let's do it. Oh, little Tandy. Multitasking, I like this girl.
1, 2, 3, 4, I declare
Thumb war.
Will I be just like you?
Nah, it'll be better. How's this for pressure?
How is Billy such a great brother? Pancakes.
So,
Could be a little fluffier though.
These are good.
Yeah.
No,
There's
she's
more where that came
lying.
From.
Really?
I like making girlfriend pancakes.
Whoa!
I'm your girlfriend?
Wait.
I like eating the pancakes.
Labels. Damn.
I want to sit down, Connors.
No. We are. How?
I don't trust the side piece. I just don't. I knew it. I knew they would be there. Rocks. Uh-oh.
Tandy?
Whew. Scared.
Did Scarborough bring you anything?
Paperwork. He wanted to make sure I wasn't a liability, and I'm not.
Exactly.
I don't remember anything after that night.
Good. Keep that story.
He saw Roxanne cutting corners. I thought he was just being paranoid.
Okay, so this memo, do you have it?
I've been in a coma for 8 years.
Box.
I'm gonna make that coffee Irish or what?
That's great. Sure you don't want to have a little kick?
That's what I was wondering.
Not today.
Well, at least not for another hour.
So, do you remember Dad keeping a safe deposit box?
Sure.
There's no way to segue into that, I suppose.
Okay. Parents love me.
I bet they do.
She's so selfish. God. What's she gonna steal?
Why are you here?
Exactly. I don't trust nothing this girl does. I can never tell with Tandy if things are genuine. Check your pockets. Mm-hmm. Knew it! Knew it! Knew it! Wow, she's just always been a thief. My lord! Born to crime. Hey! Nice. Okay. It's about to get colorful up in the neighborhood. I'm all about it.
How's a man to sit on the couch like that? You don't, huh? You just stand back and marvel at it.
Exactly.
My. Crate and barrel.
I like his friends. They can stay.
Hey, what's the difference between a cloak and a cape anyway?
Good question.
Add on to a shirt. But a cloak, it hugs you.
Okay. Oh, the care that he lifted that with. Woo! Chills. Oh. Oh, Tyrone. I think I know what you're doing now, bro. Ooh! Shook. Wow. All right. Dark side is right.
Have neither of you read Telltale Heart? Yeah, in high school. Okay, maybe it's the abridged version. It's a short story. No,
That's shade.
I'm saying, you said he's one of the goons, right? You did?
Oh, God.
But can I trust?
Just blowing up a spot, man.
I can do something. Something that would sound crazy unless you see it with your own eyes.
Billy, what are you doing? Not Billy, sorry. Tyrone, what you doing, boy? He's not really gonna... Wait, did it happen?
Mom!
Good God, did this woman... Wow. Ooh, the cock! I love it! Oh, Tandy. Now you're gonna do and destroy property with his mother's badge. Thank you.
You killed me.
Damn, T, yes! Get him, boy! Kill him! Ooh, ooh!
No.
He's right there.
This is great! Oh, mess with him, T! Mess with him!
Who are we chasing?
This is so good. I mean, gaslighting is wrong, but this is awesome. You see, only Caucasian folk do this, because if it was a black man who was this is happening to, he would have been gone. Like, he'd be on the first plane gone. Wow, he's bringing him right back to where it happened. Well done, Tyrone. Woo!
You just tried to kill me. But you can't. Because you already did.
Woo!
You know what today is? I was scared of you. You and your gun.
It was the explosion.
Right. That makes you shoot people twice.
I shot you. Okay, kid? I shot you.
Did we get it?
And you cleared the whole thing up, right?
It happened quick.
He's too close. I'm really getting nervous. It's taking too long. I don't like this. He's getting distracted.
Do it. It's done.
Tyrone, please go. Please go, Tyrone. You're making me nervous.
Got that right? I got it all.
Woo!
What the hell's going on?
Now let's see Tandy's train wreck.
I brought you some.
Why would you show him?
This is a memo.
Oh, Tandy, you're so not smart. Very pretty, but not smart. Okay, Tandy. Whoa, girl. Speaking of cuffs.
Videos and evidence.
Douche.
I mean, what he can do.
I'm from New York. I've seen it before.
Thank you. Sorry, I was hoping they tied into the universe.
Pancakes tomorrow?
Okay, maybe she like you a little. I feel like he's gonna die now, though, for sure. Look at your face. Look at your face. Ugly. The character, not the actor. He's a lovely man, I'm sure. Did she just... Aww. Tyrone. Oh, yeah, I guess they both touched. Poor mama.
My old front door.
Is she okay? Okay, I don't like this movie no more. I want my money back. That's a very expensive screen. Absence of color. Interesting choice. Why? Please tell me he didn't hit her. Please tell me he doesn't hit her. That explains so much about why she does the drugs. Wow. Damn. Now we know what Scarborough was talking about. Wow. Aw, look at Tyrone always just protecting her.
It's Tandy Bowen.
Taking the money.
I thought about it, and you know what? I'll take the money.
Oh, Tandy, come on, girl. This song's really pretty. Side note, really good music in this show. Aww. Wow, slit the throat. Very poetic there.
Dukes! Hey, get up!
Oh God, is he? I was right. He's dead, isn't he?
Celebration pancakes.
He dead, isn't he? Oh, please tell me his head's not in there. Or the whole... Wow. God, I hate being right sometimes. Damn, I knew it. I knew it. Peace out, side piece. You didn't deserve to go out like that, man. I mean, I don't really like y'all that much, but you didn't deserve to go out like that. Wow. All right, guys. That was Ghost Stories. And whew. Man, this show is so good with like just turning up the volume when we get to the end of the episode. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was good. As usual, it was good. I really enjoyed this one. This one was like, I really liked all of it. I feel like the pacing was a lot better in this one. I mean, they're overall pretty good, but I feel like out of the last like few episodes, this is definitely one of the better ones and probably one of my favorites of the season next to the montages one that we saw a few episodes or while back now. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. A couple of deeper things that they touched on in this episode. I'm gonna go to my notes here because yeah, there was a lot and my brain's still processing the end here. Let's talk about really quickly Ivan Hess. I called him Nathan Hess before, sorry, mixing up the dads. Very interesting. I was wondering how much he actually remembered and how much, if he was gonna be smart enough to figure out to lie about what he remembered about what happened on the rig. Very happy that he knew better to just, oh, my feeble addled mind that's been in a catatonic for 8 years. I don't remember anything. Good answer, sir. I think he's figured out, especially hearing about how things were blamed on Tandy's father, and you know, I think he pretty much figured out that the best thing was to feign ignorance, and I'm glad he did that. So hopefully he'll stick around long enough. I feel like he's going to become a little bit more integral later on. I mean, there's not too much of this season left. I think I heard there's only 10 episodes, so that's 2 more. I'm glad that he figured that out. As far as the whole thing about the memo and, well, I mean, we might as well just go into Tandy's story a little bit about how she handled things, because we kind of definitely had two stories going on in this episode. And I remember I've said, like, at the beginning of this video, the beginning of the video, I think the last 2 videos, I was like, where are we coming with this season? Like, we know that Tandy has an objective and we know that Tyrone has an objective, but how are we going to get there? Because Tandy's, which I'd say is far much more of a monumental task of trying to take down an entire corporation, is pretty big. And we saw a lot of work as far as her discovering like what happened, discovering some of the issues. Like she seemed to be getting a lot of ground on her side, whereas Tyrone wasn't so much. But we'll come back to Tyrone. But for her and her story, it's kind of like we kind of saw it coming to a head. Like she had to figure out something. Like, is she gonna take down Roxxon? Is she gonna go after Scarborough? Like, where are we gonna go with this? And so I just, overall, I guess it just shows the difference. Like, Tandy is very clever, but she's not always that smart. And let me explain what I mean by that. She's very impulsive. And because she's so selfish in the way she acts, and because she doesn't trust enough people, she just really acts she just doesn't put a lot of thought in her actions. Like, she's very thoughtless. And because of that, like, her whole execution of this plan with Scarborough, in my opinion, was just so terrible. Like, it couldn't have gone worse. Like, to take this man hostage, to damage company property, which, by the way, she used Tyrone's mom's badge to swipe herself in. So who knows how that could tie back negatively towards Tyrone's mother, who has nothing to do with this and who does not deserve to have her life uprooted by all of this, at least without understanding why. But digressing, she does all that, and then she takes this man hostage, and then she basically blows up her spot entirely. Like, why would you do this? Why? You know these people can kill people. Like, it's like Tandy just thinks that, oh, because I have these daggers, I'm invincible. You're not, sweetheart. I mean, I think at some point, like we saw with that car accident she got into when Ty appeared in front of her, apparently what she can do can somewhat shield her, but I don't think she's controlled that. Like, that happened when she was in a literal life or death situation. I don't know that it would protect her from a bullet or something else. You feel me? So it was very impulsive and just not thought out for her to go literally give all of her cards away right in front of this guy, show him all this evidence that she has that he didn't even know about. Like, it's just like, if you really want to take this place down, Tandy, you can't be going at this personal level. Like, Scarborough's not your issue. Scarborough is, you know, he's a minion. He's a worker bee in a larger hive. If you want to take out Roxanne, if you really want to get to the heart of it, you need to go up the ladder. Scarborough is nobody. He's nothing in the context of what needs to be done. So just the fact that she went and like blew her load basically on the lowest level of the totem pole, it was just painful to watch. And then just kind of be like, okay, well, what do you want? I mean, I think it was really fitting. The two things that Scarborough said that I think were so on the nose when it came to Tandy is, one, do you really know who your father was? Do you know the full story of your dad? Because she was 8 years old when he died. And I say kudos to her mother for doing the best that she could from hiding this terrible side of her father from her all those years. Because it's a hard thing to do, because you don't want your kid to have to deal with something like that. It's too much. I mean, obviously it wasn't great that Tandy had to deal with her mother's addiction subsequently, but I can only imagine. Like, I'm so thankful I did not have to deal with any of that growing up, but I can only imagine how difficult it was for her mom to try to maintain this veneer of being a happy woman, happy wife, happy mother, knowing that her personal life was awful, and knowing that while her husband was overall kind of a good guy, there was this horrible side to him, right? And that kind of brings me, sorry, but let me come back to my point. So yeah, that was one really good point that he brought out, that maybe Tandy needs to take a step back. And again, like brought up in the last episode, stop putting her dad on this pedestal, because there's only so much you know about your father as a child, and she's just put him up in this blameless, perfect place. And no one belongs there. No human belongs on that pedestal, because we're all imperfect. We've all screwed up. We all have sides to ourselves that aren't great. But then the second question he asked her is, do you know what you really want? And I don't think Tandy does. I don't really think she does know. Like, yes, she wants her father's name to be cleared, but her answer of I want my father back, well, you know that's not going to happen. You know Roxanne can't make it happen. It's a very childish response. You know what I mean? Like, everything Tandy's kind of come from this place of an 8-year-old, and not of someone who should be looking forward. You know, she's still very much stuck in that day in the car. So I think she needs to figure out what it is she really wants. Does she really want to absolve her father of blame? Does she really want to clear everything as far as, does she want to expose Roxanne and the fact that they were careless and killed a bunch of, like, where does she want it to be? Like, where does she actually want to go with all of this work and all of this anger and everything else that she's dealt with? So I think she really needs to think about that. But of course, as we saw, she took the money in the end. We'll see how that goes. I don't think that's going to be permanent. But coming back around to her dad, what we discovered about her father. This is a very interesting topic. I'm not going to go into too much because it's a very sensitive one, and I want to disclaim, but like, I thankfully have never been the victim of any kind of physical or emotional abuse. I don't know anyone personally in my family circle that's gone through it. So I do not want this to come off like I have any idea what that's like. And I'm not at all trying to say anything for people who feel a certain way about that. What I'm going to say about this is that her father clearly did these terrible things. I don't know if that scenario we saw at the end was the one and only time he did it, or if there were other incidents. My guess is that it was something that happened regularly. It definitely finally gave us context into why her mother was a pill popper and an alcoholic, because it seems so strange that if her father was such a good guy and she had what seemed like a good life, why? And again, not that those things buy happiness, but it just seemed it seemed very jarring that she'd be so extreme with self-medicating. But now it makes sense, right? She was trying to maintain a veneer. She was trying to maintain a facade of everything being perfect when it clearly wasn't. And that stress, not to mention clearly probably always worrying about what she would do or say to set her husband off in that spiraling other direction, that's enough to drive anybody to drink or do worse. So that was finally explained, and I'm glad we know that and we can understand that. And hopefully this will help Tandy to have a little more empathy towards her mother going forward. But on the other side of things, does the fact that he had this side of himself that was ugly and terrible, does it negate all the other things that he was? Because from what we can see, it looks like he was a good father to Tandy, and he did love her, and he did take care of her, at least financially took care of his family. And it's always, and I said, I don't want to get into it too much because I know it's a sensitive topic, and I'm not taking sides here. It's just one of those things where, does the fact that he did this, that he had this ugly side to him, does that warrant him also being falsely accused of something that caused the death of dozens of people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a very deep and very touchy issue. And I'm not saying, I don't know what's the right or wrong answer to that, but it's something that made me think like, wow, like the fact that he did that, does that justify Tandy saying, well, screw him and his reputation forever because he did this horrible thing to my mom? I'm not saying she's not justified, but it's just an interesting moral question that I thought about. So anyway, that was pretty deep and pretty crazy. And I don't know, like, I don't think it's the end of the line where this is concerned. I don't think Tandy's going to be okay with it, even though she's very understandably angry with her father. I'm just glad that we finally have some context on, you know, what is going on with her mother. And again, I feel like we're going to see Tandy potentially struggle towards the end of this season to decide whether or not she really wants to let her father's complete history be written by this act that he didn't do. Going on to Tyrone's story, wow, that was great. It was rushed. I'll say this much, like, I love the episode, but when you think about it, it was kind of rushed because we kind of had all this build up all season of Tyrone figuring out that this cop was still alive and knowing what he did and trying to figure it out. And now it's basically been wrapped up in one episode. Maybe. I mean, we already know he's got connections within the police force. That's what got him out of this murder rap in the first place. I don't think he's going to end up going to jail for this, at least not right now. Again, I've mentioned a few times that now he knows what Tyrone can do, which is worrisome, and he knows who Tyrone is. And this was one thing that Tyrone had going for him, is that the cop didn't know who he was up until now, but now that he knows who he is, Tyrone's not a lone wolf, right? He's got two parents who he loves dearly, and now they're going to be on the radar of whoever is backing this cop, potentially. Now, in a perfect world, whoever's backing him might be like, dude, I saved your butt once, I ain't doing it twice. You can go to jail for this. But reality, since whoever got him out of this pinch in the first place probably risks being exposed, I feel like this is not the end of it. I don't know if this cop's even gonna make it all the way to jail, because that confession is a little bit, like, I'm not 100% on American laws, but I know that there's a lot of very interesting red tape around recording people without their knowledge. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're going to see this get thrown out on a technicality, but it's going to be very bad, obviously, for Tyrone, and even worse for our poor detective here who put herself on the line for all of this. I loved how they I loved everything about this. Like, seeing how Tyrone's family handled this day that is clearly hard for all of them in their own ways. You know, dad trying to, like, not upset mom who's trying to pretend it's all not happening. Tyrone just sitting in the middle, like, I don't know how to handle this. Like, I want to talk about it, but I don't want to upset anybody. Which, this poor kid has been, I feel like that's been his narrative since his brother died, which is so tragic. Like, that scene where we saw his parent, like, after his parents had that argument in his memory, and little Tyrone went and slept at the foot of his parents' bed, likely after they fell asleep. They probably had no idea he was even there. But the fact that he's there, crying on the floor, his parents are sleeping, facing away from each other, like, it breaks my heart that his parents seem to be so out of tune with how much pain he's in and how much pain he's always been in. And I don't think it's intentional by any stretch, but it breaks my heart that he's felt like he's had to handle this on his own for so long to protect his family. But again, it shows so much of how sensitive and how heart-based this kid is. It's such a great quality, and I love it about him. I'm hoping that it doesn't change throughout the series, but oh, that was just heartbreaking to watch. But even, you know, again, coming back to present day, how they dealt with that at breakfast, seeing the way his dad lifted that cape like he was actually cradling like his newborn son, and then took it off somewhere and just kind of held it, and that tear, like, oh my God, like, that got me. I was like, it gave me chills. Like, it was so well done. Kudos to that actor, because that's exactly the way, like, this is like this last kind of remnant that he has of his son who was taken from him too soon, this boy who did not deserve to go out the way that he did. And once again, Tyrone kind of wanting to reach out to him in that moment, and his dad being like, again, sadly, probably unwittingly, just being like, no, give me this moment. But at the same time, I understand that they all need to have their own way of grieving. And it was super, super sad, but really well done to that actor in that moment. And then just the way that Tyrone decided to take on, you know, haunting this corrupt cop. I don't know how, well, actually, it's okay. I was gonna say, I wasn't so sure about him telling the other police officer side piece about his abilities, but one thing I loved is that they finally established, because it was really hard to tell so far in this series, how much this world knew about things like supers and people with abilities. But I love that the detective, I keep forgetting her name, I'm glad that she cleared up. She's like, I'm from New York. the fact that he can do this ain't nothing new. Like, there are supers, there are people, there are mutants. We know how this works. So I'm glad that that's out of the way and we have to go through people freaking out about the fact that Tyrone even has abilities. Yeah, I'm glad that it was one of those things where he decided to use his abilities, that he's honed it. Interesting that now they've tied in how the cloak is supposed to help him. It helps him be a little bit more controlled with it. And man, did he ever do well. Like, wow. Between using the fear ability and the, you know, the popping in and out, and then eventually getting into his face and being like, you know who I am, you know what you did to me. Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God! Brilliantly done. Also, well done as well that even though like we like to put our hate into Officer Corrupt, seeing that the fact that he is genuinely feeling guilt. Like, I mean, I teased throughout the episode that yeah, he don't feel nothing, but it has bothered him. It clearly has bothered him because that wasn't something that he planned to do. I do believe it was an accident twice, but I do believe that he didn't mean to pop that shot off the way that he did. And it was interesting to see that he does have a little bit of conscience about it, but clearly not enough. Like, we all know that he's going to go after Tyrone and his family. How that hit happened with Officer Side Piece is very interesting, but the fact that he went for the side piece and not for the detective is very, very interesting. And I'm wondering where that's going to go. If this is just a punishment for her, or if it's just like they're planning to, I don't know. It just makes me wonder why they didn't try to kill her, or maybe they still will. But I do feel really bad for her because she looks like someone who doesn't let people in very well. And as soon as she said, I'm ready to be your girlfriend, I knew it. I'm like, bye, Officer Side Piece. It was nice knowing you. I feel bad for her, but it's gonna steal her resolve to make sure she takes down whoever is at the source of all this corruption in New Orleans. It was that part, like all of it. I loved all of the stuff that happened with Tyrone's storyline here. I think they did a really good job with it. It was condensed and a bit fast considering how long we've built to it all season, but I think it was really, really well done. And it was nice to have Tyrone have a win. You know what I mean? Especially considering that Tandy was not gonna help him in any way, shape, or form, which I feel is so, I'm really hoping that, I don't know if we're gonna get it in this season, but I'm hoping we're gonna see a little bit more of a shift where Tandy's going to be a little bit more thoughtful about Tyrone going forward. Like the fact that as soon as she showed up at his house, I was like, oh God, girl, what are you going to do? How are you going to use this kid yet again? Like the lack of conscience she has about anyone is really disturbing, and it's kind of a huge character flaw. But again, no one's perfect. I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit more of a balance though, because it does make Tyrone look really weak, and I don't like that. I just need it to kind of balance out at some point, because it just makes me dislike Tandy a little, and I don't want to, because I know overall she seems very cool, and I do know, I get that she does care about Tyrone, but I just needed to dial back the selfishness just a little bit, at least where he's concerned. I know overall she's been very selfish for a very long time. Girl's been stealing since when? We saw her stealing cell phones when she was like, that girl has been a klepto since when? I don't need her to be perfect. No one wants her to be perfect, but at least a little bit better. Great episode. Again, really liked it. Picked up towards the end. It'd be interesting to see where we're coming now that we've had like 2 of their storylines semi wrapped up. Are we gonna go back to whoever the source is of all this corruption in New Orleans? Because they kept bringing that up at the beginning of the show, and I can't think it was for nothing. Also, this big tide that's coming that Tyrone's girlfriend's crazy voodoo aunt was talking about. Is that going to come into play now that they both kind of have their little side sub storylines tied up? That's kind of, I guess, the next step, I guess. Where are we going from here is the big question. So what did you guys think of this episode? I saw a lot of you were really like, hurry up and get to episode 8. I'm here, and yes, it was really, really good. Really, really good. What did you guys think? How are you guys feeling about Tandy? Am I the only one who's just getting a little irritated by her selfishness? Like, is it just me? Is it just because the moons are not aligned or something like that I'm just not feeling this girl at the moment? And also, do you think that Tyrone is a little too naive where she's concerned? Or do you think it's just best for him to be that trusting person to eventually bring her around? Please let me know in the comments below. I love reading that stuff and getting involved in the conversation with you guys. And if you like this video, guys, please click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya.